Stopped loading on my screen because I don't want to launch into all of the intro until everyone on YouTube can see it. Cool. Okay, we should be live now on Otter AI and on YouTube. I'll pop the Otter AI link into here. And Ismail, can you add the YouTube link as well into the chat, please? That would be very handy. So, hey everyone, this is the last graduation call of OLS 6, early 2023. There's still time to apply for OLS 7 if you're watching and you're thinking, goodness me, these people have done amazing things, which you will. Anyway, we are going to start with the presentations momentarily. I will just remind everyone, whether you're watching on YouTube or whether you're watching through Zoom directly at the moment, that we have a code of conduct where we ask people who are participating in our spaces to treat each other respectfully and kindly. This is something designed to protect the marginalized people in our community and make people feel welcome and belonging. So if at any point you feel like this hasn't happened, either something you've witnessed or something you experienced, then you can report that by emailing team@openlifesci.org, which reaches the organizers team, that's several people. Or if you would rather reach an individual, then you can always email yo@openlifesci.org, Berenice, Malavika, Paz, or Emmy, so that you can reach them individually. I'm just going to sneakily use some of my mute powers here, just if you are not speaking at the moment, so that your cat's meowing or the truck nearby doesn't go on YouTube. Just try and keep on mute unless it's time to speak. We do love hearing you speak, so don't feel afraid that you can't. I am going to stop yammering. Ismail, do you want to head into the organizing presentations and take us away?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome and congrats for amazing work over the past so very many weeks. You made it. We're going to be hearing from what seems to be 6 or 7 presentations. So we're going to have to cut Q&As for today. You'll have 5 minutes each to present. I will tell you when we hit the 5-minute mark, and we'll try and keep it within 5 minutes. The first talk is going to be by Nilaba. Do you have a screen to share?
Yes, I do. Let me just get that sorted.
Brilliant.
Awesome. I'm loud and clear. I'm visible, all that stuff.
Looking great. Take it away.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Hi, everybody. Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. I'm Nilaba Mukherjee. I am a pre-final year student who's pursuing a degree in bioengineering here in India. And this journey with OLS began with a simple question in my mind, is that how can open life science change the career path that I go to in the coming future? So I say that this project was born out of a necessity for me because I wanted to understand where I will be in the next 4 years. And that's what I exactly did. That's what I exactly did. With September, the first thing that came to my mind was the sheer limitless possibilities of where I can take this project with. The project Understanding the Open Life Science Landscape in India is an abstract thought. It's a thought. It's a philosophy that we can potentially guide as we see fit. And that's what I was thinking come September. When November reached, and that is when I started understanding that the best way to move forward is to make it a public project. And with the help of my mentor, Miss Anne Treasure, we started working on a public repository on GitHub, which the links are available on the Etherpad, which strived its best to document all the questions that I had asked and all the conversations that I had with individuals over this entire experience. In January, I began thinking of what the end game could be, because after all, the journey matters as much as the destination, right? The destination became very much important to me because as a student, I had questions as in, do I want to do a master's, or do I want to choose the entrepreneurial side, or do I want to join a community and give my life to it? Because I'm willing to. And so that's what I was thinking, like, what could my end game be? So as I have 5 minutes, let me quickly jump to the most important aspect of my OLS experience. And that is the human practices. So human practices was vital for my project simply because as a student, I failed to grasp how open science helps active researchers. And that's when it clicked. I am a college-going student, and I have access to these wonderful faculties who will help me understand what open life science has done for them. And that is why I approached three specific faculties. The first individual that I approached is one professor for microbiology. His name is Dr. Mendran Botlagunda, and he has a treasure trove of experience in academic and industry research. And he highlighted three specific points regarding what open science stands for in the Indian population and how my solution, which in its very simple form as a handbook or a guide, stands to help individuals. And finally, he asked a very interesting question to me, is that do we even need your project? Because after all, unless the project stands to help or support existing undergraduates, then I fail to do my initial goal. The project that I have and the way I presented to him was the conversation of actually publishing a handbook, a guide for undergraduates in India to navigate the open life sciences landscape from the fresher year to the final year. Now, why is this important in India? In India, there are numerous communities that stand and support the same concept of open life science, but they operate independently. This operation matrix that exists in India is often detrimental for undergraduates who want to understand a bigger picture. And that's exactly what Dr. Mahendran introduced me to. The second individual that I spoke was Dr. Lavanya. She is an after IGM mentor and also has worked with numerous individuals as a consultant as well. Then she talked about how you have to reduce barriers to ensure that the project is more accessible. And that is when I began to understand the importance of a GitHub repository to discuss what I've achieved and what I should be achieving. And finally, what she clarified was a very important aspect is what could your potential stakeholders need? So with her guidance, what I'm trying to do as we speak is develop customer profiles of potential stakeholders to my project, and also how I can start looking at a potential team. Why did I mention team? Because the concept of a team is very important. That is what my final professor introduced me to. Her name is Dr. Neetu. And she talked about how making this project a successful endeavor, having an exceptional team is important. And so the biggest goal I have going forward to my end game is to try to figure out potential contributors and how this project can take off. Finally, for the final section that I want to talk to you guys all about is basically a timeline of what I did over the past few months. In September, what I did is I approached numerous communities to understand what are they facing, in the sense, what are the potential concerns that they have in terms of open science and how undergraduates fail to understand this opportunity. And I simply began by asking Google, is what is happening in India and how can I be a part of it? Come October. That's when
5 minutes, please.
That's 5 minutes. I'll wrap it up.
Thank you.
So, yes, let me just quickly wrap that up. Yes. There are three key takeaways of my project, and that's how I want to wrap it up. First, publishing the undergraduate's guide to life science research and industry in India. Second, build or join a community of potential contributors to make sure that this facility are available to undergraduates. And finally, recommend ways to improve scientific communication in India. And with that, thank you so much. And I'm open to questions and your comments.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Well done. Congratulations. If you can stop sharing your screen, we'll get an image of everyone sharing and applauding. A huge round of applause for Nilawa. Congrats on amazing work over the past many weeks. We have the Etherpad where we can share questions. Nilawa, take a look in case questions appear throughout the
Will do.
Chat and later on. For now, we're going to go on to Umar, who's presenting on Open Science Community Nigeria.
Hello, everyone.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, hello, everyone. I am Umar here, presenting you on Open Science Community Nigeria with a colleague of mine, Khadija, who is based in Malaysia currently. Khadija.
Hi, good evening. My name is presenting with Umar.
Okay. Just to a kind of motivations, what actually inspired us to establish open science community because of the movements of open science around the global stage. And open science is actually so new in Nigeria, and we decided, okay, because we don't have this community established in Nigeria, and we come up with the Open Science Community Nigeria, which we have the Twitter handles here, as you can see. So our major vision for establishing the open science community in Nigeria is basically to reach as many researchers as possible as we can, to engage them in the community of researchers, clinicians, stakeholders, and students in Nigeria, to inspire them and enable the discussions of open science among Nigerians in order to help in improving the quality of our own research output. So working together, we will want to embed the open science practice in Nigerian community. So it was founded actually in April 2022. I think during my OLS 5, along the way, I got this idea of developing this open science community in Nigeria. Then from there, we actually opened the repository GitHub. You can see the profiles of the open science there. And then in June 2022, we also created a repository in Zenodo, where we actually fostered some of the talks that we were invited by the African Society for Computational Biology. In April, in June, the same June, we actually organized our first workshop in data transformations and analysis using R. And this is actually a cross-sections of the participants who actually attended our first and second workshop. One is in Bauchi State University here in Nigeria. And the second one is in Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, Bauchi, Nigeria. In August 2022, we joined the International Network of Open Science Community and Scholarships to better understand how we can run the open science community in Nigeria. And we had the membership in the same August, where we have a network of communities. We interacted with a network of international community of open science. They are actually located mostly in Netherlands, about 12 locations in Netherlands, one in Sweden, one in Ireland, and one in Saudi Arabia, and another one, the recently founded open science community in Serbia. Then in September, we also joined the Open Science Community Incubator programs. That was actually the first programs initiated by the International Network of Open Science and Open Science Scholarships. There we participated, we attended these programs, and we learned based on these models, we learned how to actually develop missions and vision statements, just like the way we did it and learned together in the Open Life Science community. We also learned community engagements, communication strategy, stakeholders engagements, monitoring and sustainability, and more in the Open Science Community Incubator. So here in January recently, we had this library science that actually decided they want to sponsor the development of our website, and currently the website is under development, and we hope to launch it soon. So at this juncture, I think I would like to hand over to Khadija, who will continue from here. Thank you.
Hello, Khadija here. So based on what we have learned so far, we plan to utilize this knowledge we acquire to be able to achieve the set actions we want to take in the next first and second quarter of 2023, which is to complete and launch the website and also attract new members, as well as engage the community and stakeholders. So based on that, we hope to achieve more items on the list on the third and fourth quarter of 2023. That includes identifying sustainability plans, as well as creating collaboration and partnership with other member body. So currently the team is made of just Umar, myself, who is the Northeast coordinator, and Sadiq. Sadiq is the Northeast coordinator, and as well as Mahmoud, who is the program coordinator. We currently have vacant.
Khadija, that is 5 minutes. If you could try to wrap it up, please.
All right. So we currently have vacant positions, which we plan to fill very soon, identifying faculty members as well as students to fill in this particular vacant position to assist in awareness of spreading awareness of open science across different institutions in Nigeria. So before I end, I would like to appreciate Caleb, who was our mentor, Joe, who is the founder of African Preprint, Batul, who is the founder of Open Science, for her constant assistance and potential collaboration in the future. Mo and Malvika, as well as everybody who has assisted us in this program by broadening our knowledge and also increasing our visibility, especially on Twitter. And we also finally want to appreciate all our open science supporters across Africa and beyond. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. Well done. It's really good to hear that you got sponsorship for the website development. It looks like it's all going ahead. Exciting times. If you could stop sharing your screen.
Okay, thank you, Ismail.
And congrats, and a huge round of applause from everyone around the room. Again, kind reminder, there is an Etherpad to put questions in. Presenters, feel free to look at questions later on. Getting tight with time, so we're going to go to the other Uma for the next presentation.
Hello.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
I'll share the presentation.
Can you? Okay, thank you.
You see it?
Yes.
Yes. Like presenter said, my name is Umar Farooq Ahmad. So let's accept what you said, Umar Nuclear. I'm here to present my OLIS project mentored by Jafsia LEC. Next slide, please. And here is how I'm going to do it. Next slide, please. The problem here we are facing in Nigeria is that documented, we had 4,000 X-ray equipment currently functioning in Nigeria as of 2018, reported by the Radiographers Board of Nigeria. And almost 5% of these are only under regulatory control. So we try to see, based on this, let's try to come up with a method to see how many of this equipment are there in Kano metropolis, as Kano is the most populous state in Nigeria. So based on what is on ground, the data that the Radiographers Board of Nigeria shared with us, they said that they had 41 X-ray equipment. So, and all these 41, many of them are not under regulatory control. So, and the risks, this process is that there will be increased risks of patient mismanagement. I would like to go technical here, if you permit me, for some seconds, so as to understand the danger of it. For example, if a machine, X-ray equipment, has lasted for, let's say, 2 years, so it's supposed to undergo quality control, let's say quarterly or yearly. So if it didn't take, if it hasn't passed through this QC, quality control, for like, say, 3 to 4 years. So maybe, for example, if the radiographer is trying to get an image, he put like, let's say 20 kilo voltage, which will dissipate, let's say 0.01 millisievert. So the machine might, when the radiographer put that 20, the machine might dissipate 20 millisievert. Who knows? So that's why this type of QC and QA need to be taking place. So this will lead to unnecessary radiation exposure to patients. Next slide, please. So this is our solution. We propose using machine learning and AI algorithm to predict the QA or QC status of the equipment. So this project will tend to have like open source, and we get reliable and affordable QA tool combining AI and ML, and also generate useful data. Next, please. So here is the progress and vision of the project. First, project documentation and GitHub, which has been done. And also during our survey to confirm the data we collected from Radiographers Board of Nigeria, we survey diagnostic centers that use X-ray in Kano metropolis comprising of 8 local governments. So we found out that the number that the Radiographers Board of Nigeria reported 41, and the present situation that we found that there are currently 292 X-ray equipment. You see, that's the different margin. That is a big gap because had it been this data is open, people will be contributing towards this increase. The next, we will try to create a project website so as to create a community to share and resources and also share knowledge. So the next is to obtain parameters using QA dosimeters. As you can see, there is a stop there. So we liaise with the current radiation safety officers that have these dosimeters. However, we realize that now the problem of why people are not doing QA and QC is because of the expensive nature of this procedure. So that's where the point we are. And we tend to create this project. When we get this data, we'll go. We'll create a project data set and apply the AI model. We keep training the algorithm, and next we develop this toolkit. Next slide, please. So as you can see by the right, here is the type of equipment needed, which are the multifunction meter and also ion chamber. So we couldn't get, we're in process on seeing how to secure funding to see if we can get this equipment to get these parameters. Also, challenges. The challenges we are facing, we know that collecting a large amount of data when tackling a completely new task can be challenging, to say the least, because you need to go from center to center so as to get the reliable data for you. And also we realize that, okay, the reason why these radiation safety officers are not even lending us their equipment to use is because that of this Nigerian Nuclear Regulatory Radiation Protection course for RSOs. If we can get sponsorship to do this course, it will help, and also funding for this equipment. Next slide, please.
That is 5 minutes, if you can wrap up.
Yes, I'm rounding up just now. So my OLS experience has been so great. I've learned skills like open source project, documentation of resources, GitHub. To say the least is networking, reaching out to people. As you can see, I was the banana man at the recent COP, and this couldn't happen without the help of the OLS community for the crowdfunding, for sharing my cry on Twitter, and also, and OLS 6 experience shows me that everything is possible, that no matter what the obstacle, you just have to keep going, and it's possible. Next slide, please, that last one. As you can see, I was able to even share my experience, thanks to you for connecting me, to share my experience with the American Geophysical Union regarding open science and climate justice. And during this trip, I was able to meet with the Secretary of Energy of the United States and also the Department of Energy in United Kingdom. Next slide, please. I think that's all. Lastly, I would like to thank the organizers, especially you. There are so many adventures behind my visa and other things. Thank you so much. And my mentor, he has been patient with all my travels and all things. So thank you so much. And we look forward to collaborating and getting this work done in the future. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for presenting. It's such an applicable project. It's great. You're making real change. I love it. Huge round of applause. Congrats to you, Umar. Well done on all the great work over the past few weeks and the work to come. It looks like you're setting yourself up for a long project, an exciting one. Next presentation is from Shamim. Are you able to?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
In a moment. Yes. You
Okay.
have it in, we can see the whole screen, right?
Okay. Okay.
There you go. Perfect.
Thank you. My name is Shamim Usata from the University of Nairobi. A master's student in bioinformatics, and we did a project on as an open support resource for mental health among researchers in Kenya. And my mentor was Maya Sundukova. So we narrowed down to postgraduate students. Mental health involves the emotional, social, and psychological well-being. So it affects how you think, how you feel, how you act, and it also determines how you respond to different aspects of life. So it's one of the most important aspects in everyone's life, especially for a researcher. And postgraduate students face 8 times higher rate of developing depression, anxiety than the normal population. Some of the mental health issues that postgraduate face are imposter phenomenon, depression, anxiety, burnout, the other is mood disorders. Yes. So the problem stemmed from the fact that in Kenya, we don't have any dedicated efforts or initiatives in our academic institutions to deal with mental health. So there's a lot of mental health stigma, and then students do not really know what mental health is. So most of them, when you ask them, they think back in time and they're like, oh yeah, that was a mental health issue. So there's a lot of mental health literacy, and there's also the aspect of supervisor-mentee relationships. It's kind of tough here. So it gets strained, and then now it exacerbates the mental health issues among students. So the objective of this project was to, sorry, can go to the next slide. I don't know what's happening. Sorry. 1 second. Sorry. So the objective of this project was to create awareness. So by providing mental health literacy and sharing stories from experienced researchers and students who've gone through mental health and managed to overcome. And then we're also aiming to build peer networks, a community of established researchers and students who have handled mental health and can help others handle mental health issues. And then finally, developing programs for mental health healthcare, workshops, and a guideline for healthy mentor-mentee relationships. So what we managed to do so far was we did a survey to assess the state of mental health among students and also start the discussions, like conversations on mental health. So we got 26 responses. Majority of them were master students and 1 postdoc. And some of the issues we noted from the questionnaire was there was high rates of depression, anxiety, and imposter phenomenon. And they were all tied to the intensity of the different programs, financial issues, lack of peer support, and the strained mentor-mentee relationship. So some of the suggested solutions from the questionnaire were we need to increase mental health talks and also develop approaches to improve mentor-mentee relationships. So to chart the way forward, we are working on increasing the story sharing. So we welcome anyone who's willing to share the stories on how they handle mental health, established researchers or students, And then we are also, a community of peers is underway. We welcome any collaborators who are willing to join the community, so that we can brainstorm on how to help students with mental health issues. And then finally, we're working on an online, so far, we're working on an online workshop on demystifying mental health among postgraduate students, and also working on a team to create a template with guidelines that will help foster mentor-mentee relationships. We welcome anyone who's willing to collaborate. You feel very welcome. Yes, you can reach out to me on my Twitter handle, and I also left links on the Etherpad. Thank you, OLS, and thank you for my very resourceful mentor, Maya. And thank you for everyone else who participated in the project.
And thank you for keeping it under 5 minutes, and also the amazing work. It's really important stuff. Thank you so much. Huge round of applause for excellent work that I know Maya can continue to support you on. Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot there, but well done. We'll go to the next presentation now by Maya.
Great. Let me share the screen. Just let me know when you can see it.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's up.
Fantastic. Yeah, here I am to present you some reflections from OLS 6 cohort on the project I've been doing with Remo, which I renamed now to more what it is, Pan-European Background Summaries describing mental health of researchers. And it's nice to be after Shamim because she really laid out that mental health is an issue. It's a delicate point for researchers in academia, but actually for all of us. And we are basically all on the same boat in this. And it's nice to see all the cooperative actions in order to tackle these issues. And Remo is one of such initiatives, is a network of researchers and practitioners funded by Cost Action, which works on European and adjacent countries. And it focuses on well-being and mental health in academia through activities such as networking, research, dissemination, training, and also engaging with policymakers. I'm really glad that Remo does this collaborative effort and puts the results of these efforts online and open. For example, I'll put later on the Etherpad the links to the library, Zotero Library of articles on mental health, or all the reports and presentations are put on Zenodo and shared, and many other projects going on. So my journey with this project was that I joined the Action in last year, a teamwork that was developing a large multi-scale, multinational survey to understand the status and factors behind mental health of researchers. And it will be launched later this year, and we are going to disseminate it. And call to action came to me when we realized that we don't have in one place some kind of background summaries on mental health of researchers. And that's how I joined the Virtual Mobility Grant Scheme, and now I'm volunteering to bring this to the completion. And so what would be in that such a summary? After consulting various members and experts, we thought it is important to have in such a document what's in the news in the country about mental health. Is it even in the news, or anything related to the career of researcher? So evidence, any data, any survey results, who are the stakeholders, what is the support system for mental health, what's the academic research structure, what's the funding, what's career structure, what's the legislation and policies. And all of these went to the exercise booklet for Remo ambassadors, which you can also consult and use, for example, in devising your own understanding of mental health in your country, and also the template, which is very long, but it's kind of an invitation to think of the topic. The current status is that 18 countries kind of working in progress. The yellow countries that are mapped, they said they would like to do it, but so far they haven't started. Light green is there is work going on, something is being gathered, and the dark green, the Finland, is quite a completed summary, and we're really lucky and really thankful to the contributor Melina. So this role was quite open and agile, and allowed me to engage and consult various members, let me be creative in setting the template and documentation processes, and a lot of coordination, delegation, and communication. And don't laugh, please, but actually writing a code of cool email was a very tough thing for me. However, going through OLS, what I really would like to highlight for me as a learning is, is open leadership, is how assignments and reflections, especially the mentoring, accompanied me into leaning more into my values and strengths, and therefore not thinking of limitations. However, it's been a constant search of balance, a balance because of the risk of the projects, as the result is totally dependent on others and on their ability to engage, on the balance between expertise of a person, their enthusiasm or time or willingness to contribute, and people are really busy. And
yeah, that is 5 minutes.
5 minutes, great. Yeah, and of course, volunteer and paid work is something to take into account, and the effects of work-life balance and mental health. And I'd like to acknowledge the whole OLS, my mentor Natalie, my mentee Shamim, because she is really doing a courageous effort project in Kenya, mental health, and people from Remo who were really important for me to understand how it works. And yeah, please keep in touch, and yeah, let's work on it. Thank you. Okay.
Well done. Congrats. Massive round of applause from everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great work, Maya, over the past. I like the mention of cold emails. No, they're not easy. They're kind of weird, aren't they? But well done for overcoming the challenge of cold emailing, but also the great work with, looks like Finland's leading the way. That's an interesting point. The next talk is by, oh, you're already sharing your screen. Thank you, Nina.
Hello, so we would like firstly to introduce ourselves. We are 3 students from different Irish universities. And for the first time, we all met during the course where we were introduced to open science concepts. And because we wanted to make these concepts accessible to other PhD students and early career researchers, together with students from 8 Irish and Danish universities, we decided to create this online course for early career researchers, introducing them to open science. And we decided to call our initiative AGAPE. AGAPE means wide open, as is the open science philosophy and practice we want to promote. And the word agape originates from Greek and means love that is unconditional, such as our love for science. Of course, we couldn't miss the opportunity to have this ape in awe as our AGAPE logo. And then we joined OLS with our project AGAPE, building an open science practicing community in Ireland, because we wanted to learn about the theoretical and practical approaches to community building and maintenance. And from the very beginning, we would like to thank our mentor, Sarah, who was very helpful, because when we joined, we wanted to do everything. And Sarah really helped us to focus on the few main objectives that you can see here, and to structure them and make them into smaller steps that we were able to track and trace. So the first objective was to learn how to build and maintain the open science practicing community. Then we wanted to learn how to improve knowledge and practice in open science at PhD and early career researchers level. And also, it never harms to get some tips on how to get funding. So to learn more about theoretical and practical approaches to community building, we wanted to hear success and failure stories of others who were attempting this before us. Of course, we wanted to get some tips on how to reach more PhD students and early career researchers, and also tips on some tools that we could use to maintain the community and empower contributors. So what we did, we had a few interviews with experts, and we have been flabbergasted how open and genuinely willing to share their experience these were. And we decided also to tap into OLS brainpower in the form of a survey and in Slack channel, questions on a Slack channel. And again, everyone was so helpful. We got so many useful tips. We are super grateful. And then we wanted to learn how to improve knowledge and practice in open science and PhD and early career researchers level. And for this, we decided to brainstorm on workshops. Again, we got so many useful tips on this. And we are at the moment building our website and blog site where everyone can share their experience and thoughts about open science. And we established a collaboration platform that I'll get to in a minute, and also launch this massive open online course that I mentioned before. So this is the screenshot from the course, how it looks. And what was great, we also created a README file on GitHub about how to use this. And in the spirit of open science and OLS, we shared the documentation, practically a tool, that template that someone can use, because we integrated here a lot of features like automated certificate generation or quizzes, interactive quizzes that were not available before. And also we have a small bug reporting tool. And for the collaboration platform, we decided to use Mattermost, and OLS was again very helpful because we were able to nail down our vision statement, code of conduct, and contributor guidelines. And last but not least is our search objectives when we were looking for tips on how to get funding. And you can see here some of them, and we were super lucky because we got some tips on where to apply and how to apply for funding. And that's what we are going to try next. Thank you everyone for this amazing ride. It was really a pleasure. It was amazing, and we hope this is not goodbye and this will go on. And here is how you can find and contact us, as well as longer version of this presentation you can find on our GitHub account. Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. To you and the team, well done. Congratulations, and a massive round of applause, please. Right, Susanna's already on it. Okay. Let's go on to the next presentation.
Okay. So the title of my project was Ethical Standards and Reproducibility of Computer Models in Neurobiology, because that's what I do. I'm a PhD student who creates computer models of specific proteins in the brain to understand memory. And I wanted to look at the ethical standards and reproducibility of these models. I worked together with Open Life Sciences, the University of Edinburgh, which is my home university, and the Alan Turing Institute, where I'm currently an enrichment student. I like to give thanks at the beginning to Shoban, who was my OLS mentor, to Melanie, David, and Nicola, who are my PhD supervisors and have been really helpful all throughout the process. Claudia Fischer, who was of great guidance at the Alan Turing Institute, and then of course everyone at OLS and anyone who came along the journey as well. So I'm going to give a brief background at the beginning. What was the aim and motivation? Then I'll let you know if I actually achieved the goals that I proposed for myself at the beginning, and finally the outcomes of the project. So as a background, I thought that what I wanted to do was to offer a case studies, an example of how to create a PhD that looks at reproducibility and ethics as part of the process, not as an add-on. And I wanted to tackle reproducibility issues to stop wasting money, time, and resources in general due to reproducibility issues. And of course, I think, this is my opinion, but I think very strongly that reproducibility only makes sense if bias is accounted for as well. Otherwise, oppressive biases carry on without being questioned. And just as a quick definition of what I mean by bias here, I mean an inclination or prejudice for or against a certain group, especially in a way considered to be unfair. So some of my main objectives, as I said, were to create a written guide for looking at bias and reproducibility in a PhD for other people to be able to use as an example. I did not manage to write a full guide, but I am in the process of embedding this as I write my thesis. So hopefully this should still be helpful for people in the future. And when looking at bias, I had to zone in on one type of bias because there's a lot of them. There's racist, sexist, ableist, and I thought I would focus on speciesist bias, which is the thought of some species being superior to other kind of species, and focus on that as well as the reproducibility side of things. So I did a lot of brainstorming. What questions can I ask? How do I actually do this? How do I quantify this speciesist bias in the literature to showcase that this is actually important? I've spent lots of hours looking for examples and templates of other people who've done similar work on other kinds of biases, because no one focuses on this kind, as at least not as much for now. And another objective was to publish results, which for now are contained in GitHub, but I do look forward to publishing articles elsewhere as well. So did I actually achieve my goals? Kind of. I ended up learning a lot more about how GitHub works, which will for sure be helpful for anything that I do in the future. I learned about licensing my work, which has been already extremely helpful. I also learned about how to make science and my work more open and accessible. And I ended up making lots of really great contacts and reading a lot, which was extremely helpful. So as an outcome, I ended up having two main projects that are kind of a side effect of my time in OLS. So first of all, I'm doing a project collaboration at the Turing Institute, and I'm looking forward to doing some keyword extraction to create some quantitative analysis of the speciesist bias that I was talking about. And I am also organizing a data hazards, ethics, and reproducibility symposium on the 10th of March. It will be a hybrid event, so everyone is welcome to join. I am really looking forward to that and to applying all that I learned during OLS here. And that is it. If you want to contact me, please email me. And also feel free to come to the event that I'm organizing or share it around as well.
Well done. Congrats. Let's leave that QR code on the screen for share the link in the chat. It'll be great. Round of applause from everyone. Really exciting project, and as a data hazards enthusiast myself, please follow that link and join them. Next, we're going to be seeing the presentation where we had the mentor was Kim, and you're sharing the screen, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Can you see the screen all right?
We see it great. Shall we see if we can hear the recording?
Hello, guys.
Brilliant.
Okay, I'm going to start it now.
Go for it.
Megan Stock,
Ariana Saborian, and Renee and Nina Rue. Thank you so much for attending our presentation.
Due to personal commitments, we are unfortunately not all present at the graduation ceremony today, but we do hope that you enjoy hearing about our project.
So before we jump into more about our project, let's start by making sure we're all on the same page regarding some of the common terms. A research software engineer, or RSC, is someone who uses software engineering abilities for research-intensive purposes. They create software tools for researchers to use to improve their research. Interestingly enough, the first attempt at establishing an RSC group in Africa was only started last year, which is the RSC at Sun initiative, founded by Dr. Kim Martin.
So, what is the problem that we are trying to solve? Research quality is becoming highly dependent on intelligent and data-driven technologies to ensure its credibility, and thus researchers need people who are able to help them in their projects, in other words, RSEs. So, the main goal of our project was aimed at creating a platform to bring domain specialists who have the capacity and willingness to help in open science, together with researchers from applied and social sciences who have needs to use computational technologies to investigate research problems together.
In order to solve this research question, we decided that a semantic approach to developing the platform would be best. Semantic technologies overcome the problems presented by databases by creating a structured vocabulary where data can be organized, regardless of how much data is added to it. This benefit of semantics was particularly important for us to make sure that the needs of the RSEs were met, since it allows for relationships between RSEs and their skills and abilities to be recorded explicitly, as well as for implicit relationships to be queried. Semantic technologies also allow for global collaboration between groups to be made possible.
As you can see, we created an ontology that connects RSEs with researchers while focusing on the skills and technologies involved.
Our ontology consists of 5 superclasses, each of which is made up of a few subclasses. The field class represents the different areas of research domain expertise that RSEs may have knowledge in and that projects require expertise in. The project class was created as a way to track projects that will be registered when the ontology is in use. The role player class contains subclasses of people, groups, or even machines that will be involved in the system. These include the client, RSE contact, and the specialist subclasses. The specialist is essentially someone in the system that is recorded as being able to provide RSE-like services without necessarily having to be classified as an RSE.
The technology class was created to represent the skills and open source tools that RSEs are proficient in.
Finding all the information needed to fill this ontology was challenging. Since RSEs are relatively new, common terms have not yet been established amongst them, with many discrepancies between what certain things actually mean. Wait, are we on mute? Just kidding. So, in order to understand what RSEs are and what skills they have and the services they offer, we saw that with the help of the RSE at Sun founder, Dr. Kim Martin, we found ourselves being connected with many domain experts and RSE leaders who expressed their interest in our project and gave us many useful ideas.
We set up a website, conducted multiple informal interviews, got accepted to a conference, and got interviewed for a podcast, all to be able to spread the word of the ontology and get as much RSE feedback as possible.
When discussing our ontology with these specialists, they all had similar positive reactions towards our project and were excited about the benefits for its future use in collaboration. With the feedback from these domain experts, a couple of use cases were identified for potential future applications.
Here are some Sparkle queries that show how our use cases are answered by the ontology.
However, even with all these cool things about the ontology, our project doesn't end there. With the positive responses we have received from numerous people about our project and the potential for our ontology to be used by RSE groups and shared online, we've been encouraged to continue to develop the ontology and share it with enough RSEs so that it can become a community-driven and community-owned project that will grow legs and form a useful resource for many RSE groups. Hopefully he will grow legs too. Possibly one of the coolest things that we were lucky to be a part of is the Open Life Science Mentorship Program. The OLS accepted our project as part of their program with the aim of helping us to develop our ontology under the open science movement through hosting it on GitHub and teaching us how to get the ontology to a point where it becomes community-owned and driven.
The most important aspect of this project is getting community feedback to ensure that the ontology is as relevant and inclusive as possible. In order to get the ontology to the point where it becomes a functional tool, additional steps will need to take place in the future, such as finding a way to make the tool openly available and easily updatable. As the exact approach that we plan on going about achieving this is still not completely certain, the search for the correct method continues as we learn more about how to share ontologies online and how to integrate them with existing technologies. Another plan for the future of the ontology is that one member of the team will potentially be visiting RSE groups in the UK in May this year to get facilitated input for the ontology. Also, we are preparing to host focus groups with RSEs who have insights into RSE skills, technologies, and domains that they offer expertise in.
Although we received much help from our mentor and from the OLS program, the development of the ontology was not without its challenges. We found that receiving valuable community input in a useful format was difficult, as there was no easy way to get suggestions in a way that made it easy to implement into the ontology. Scaling the ontology has also been a challenge. We hoped to learn new tips and methods on how to adequately complete and implement an open science-related project. We also hoped to learn more effective methods when it comes to conducting research. We expected to gain new knowledge from OLS by listening to what other people's projects were about and what their findings were, if they had any.
Thank you so much for listening to us. We hope that we have inspired you to be part of this growing ontology and assisting researchers alike.
And a huge congrats to Kim, who I think is the only person.
Hello, guys.
Are others here? Are others here, or is it just Kim? Well, congrats. I hope, Kim, also you feel very proud of your team.
I'm extremely proud of them. It doesn't look like any of them are here. I don't think that's their own fault. I think there's a lot of stuff going on this side, including load shedding in South Africa, which is a different story altogether. But I am extremely proud of them.
And a lot of love in the chats for the presentation. I think we all want to know how they did it. I'm going to pass over to Yo now to close this exciting session.
Okay, we have not managed a single one on time. Everyone's telling me don't forget to do group camera. I will do that after I have said thank you, I love you, and we've turned off the streaming. So just a quick thank you, everyone. It's been slightly over 4 months that we've been working together, that you've been working with your mentees, with your mentors, you've been working as a team. It is not the end of our journey. We hope that many of you as mentees will be coming back as mentors maybe next time, or perhaps as call facilitators, people who help us host the calls and manage YouTube transcripts such as Ismail. And we are so very amazed and proud of every single thing we've just seen today, and of the other 2 presentation sets that we've had earlier this week. And we will change culture together, step by step. Every one of you will make science just a little bit better shared so that we can build on each other's shoulders. And I am so proud, so proud of you. Let's wrap up because we are over time. I'm going to stop the stream. Bye, beautiful YouTubers. We saw your support coming through. Sorry about the spam that came through in the YouTube channel. And we will see you. I'm going to